I gotta apologize in advance. I got a lot of mixed emotions today. Not only because that GOP debate just reminded me how our entire country is just clowns. And we just put clowns on TV and we're just cool with clowns who are supposed to be leaders arguing over nonsense on national television, and that's entertainment.
The GOP debate was like the Love and Hip Hop reunion.
Embarrassing. But then, look, and y'all could call 800-223-9797 if y'all want. And y'all could be as mad at me as y'all want. But my opinion, Ebro's opinion, Ahmed Mohamed taking his clock to school, walking it in, giving it to his teacher, and his teacher's first reaction to be that she's going to call the cops, put him in handcuffs, detain the little boy.
She thought it was a threat.
Why? Does a kid have a past?
No. He's
a kid who wants to be a nerd engineer, which is awesome.
Yes, and all he wanted to do was build a clock to impress his teachers. He wanted to present it to the other engineers in the school to get
They didn't
some
even
critique.
call, you know, they didn't call Ahmed's parents.
That's
the
crazy
police
to
called
me.
his parents.
That's so nuts.
Oh my God, it's so nuts.
And in my opinion, it's an example of how scared and lost we are. It's also an example of how, you know what? Unfortunately, how we've handled things and become even more afraid and prejudiced. An example of how the terrorists won.
Couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I used to always think that on a much dumber level when I was boarding planes, right? When you'd see like 3-hour lines, and in 2008 still, and I'm like, damn, we still haven't figured out how to really. We all live so scared that we almost have to do extra stuff just to make ourselves feel better. And I'm like, this is a feather in the terrorist's cap. And that's nothing. That's just waiting, and it's annoying. But this mentality to show that we would judge someone, a 14-year-old boy who's doing exactly what the president wants people to do.
Become more engineers, more ingenuity, more innovation, more scientists, because we're getting our ass kicked in the world.
By Asia, by Russia, everyone's kicking our ass.
India.
So this little boy is doing what he's supposed to do, and simply because of the way he looks and what his name is, even though they had to know he's a nerd, like, you know, he's this little NASA nerd, and yet when he brings in a science why a clock? Why?
And if he was trying to do something harmful, why would he walk it in and hand it to the teacher like, here?
It's like she thinks the terrorism is just in his blood. He doesn't even know that he's doing it. She's like, he doesn't realize it's a bomb. It's a subconscious. He has to blow us
crazy.
up. Like, it's nuts. It's so embarrassing. But, you know, I already see a silver lining, because this kind of hatred has been going on towards Middle Eastern Americans for years, and this story is putting a different face on it and making it easier for people to appreciate. Because I'm not gonna lie, guys, here in New York in particular, I've heard nasty things said since I first came here, thrown out there very loosely, and I think it makes it a lot harder for people to hold on to those stupid opinions when they see a little boy like this treated like that. So, you know, and he's getting the royal treatment.
I didn't know you guys would be I didn't know you guys would be as passionate as I teared up yesterday when I saw this.
Well, you tear up all the time now.
I mean, I'm a dad, man. I'm a father.
No, crying Ebro is a new thing. Like, that's just literally.
I teared up, man. I was looking down my timeline. I was like, what? Damn.
You know what's crazy? I'm reading the story on CNN, and he says that when Ahmed was called out of class, he said he was brought into a room with 4 police officers. Who of them said, "Yep, that's who I thought it was." They were so sure.
Wait, what do you mean? Who did?
One of the police officers was like, "Yep, that's who I thought it was." That out of all the children, he already assumed that.
Now, mind you, this is in Irving, Texas. I don't know how many Arabic Muslim children there are in Irving, Texas, so maybe it makes it that much easier for them to be prejudiced and racist.
Well, in Texas there are a lot of repug people in Texas who would have thoughts like that.
And that's prejudice and racist of you, sir.
To judge Texas?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there are actually a ton of liberals in Texas, too, and open-minded people in Texas.
There you have it.
But, you know, it's Texas.
We're going to take your calls. You guys could disagree with us, but I'm sure we're going to get some interesting calls. But, you know, I am a kid who's had, you know, I have an Arabic name. I have a Jewish mother and an Arabic name. So when I saw that happened to a kid with an Arabic name, I think it hit that much harder too, because I know how it feels to be judged based on your name, based on your appearance and all that, right? So it hit a little bit home for me. Cindy in New Jersey, a Muslim, born and raised in America, and you're used to this behavior.
I am, ever since 9/11. I mean, I have an American first name. I'm the firstborn, but my brother and sister both have Arabic names. After 9/11, my brother is a Mohammed. He was in 8th grade and treated horribly. I mean, we lived in a suburban, all-white town.
Yeah. And Cindy, I'll say this too, and many of us are too young to remember when they, Pearl Harbor and when they treated Asians and Japanese people,
right,
and put them in camps, and that was in some people's lifetime.
Right.
And and obviously for black Americans, the treatment based on your appearance and your name and et cetera, is something that we've all experienced. And even now with the illegal situation with Spanish Americans and Mexican Americans getting treated, a certain way just because they're Mexican, and do you have papers and this and that. You know what I mean?
I have a mixed daughter. I have a mixed African American and Arab daughter, and I am scared to death, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Of what she's going to go through.
I mean, it is part of unfortunately, prejudice and racism continues to be a part of the fabric of America. We appreciate you sharing, Cindy.
No problem. Thanks.
Sorry about that. Tanya in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, Tanya. How did you feel? How did you feel yesterday when young Ahmed Mohamed was taken into custody over his clock he brought to school?
I have a little mixed feelings over it. I definitely agree that the school overreacted, but the times that we're living in, we need to be inquisitive and we need to question what's being done and why it's being done. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes, we want this kid to thrive and be this engineer, but to kind of question, like, what was his motive behind doing it rather than arresting him?
Why make a clock?
Well, he wanted to be an engineer, and he wanted to present it to his teacher to get some critique and impress.
Yeah, but was that known before or after he was arrested?
I think the main issue is not that the teacher or that the boy made a clock, or the teacher thought like, hey, you know what, let's check this out. It's sad that we live in a time where you have to think like that, I think is your point. I think it's very sad. It's very sad. It's very sad, and I'm gonna say it again. It's what the terrorists wanted when they attacked us. When they attacked us, the way we behave right now was exactly what they wanted. You know why? Because other places around the world where bombs are always going off, they live like this. And they were jealous of the fact that here in America, we had never had to experience that before.
Ebro, I agree with that 100%, but my thing is that, no, we shouldn't judge people by the way they look and the way that they live. But unfortunately, that's our society today. I'm not saying that the kid should have been arrested or, all this heightened alert on this one little kid, but we do live in a society where we have to question and bring seconds. And that's where I'm upset. That's where my mixed emotions coming at. Because instead of being reactive, we reacted a little too soon. And yes, I agree. They should have called the parents in. They should have sat down and, discussed with the parents what their concerns were. And then they probably would have got a better understanding of where the kid's head was and why he was doing this. But I agree. They definitely overreacted.
Would this have happened to him if his name was John Smith?
Of course not.
If it was John Smith, it
wouldn't have. It was because he was an Arabic kid, and you know it.
No, I would question.
You really believe if a little white kid or a little black kid just brought in a clock, that people would have freaked out
and thought it was a bomb or a terrorism act?
If that kid's name was if that kid's name was Scott or Tyrone, you think people would be like, "Oh my God, they brought in a clock."
If his name was Tyrone, they'd be like, "Wow, you finished the assignment."